Well, hello and thank you for joining me for another ITY and Alex on Tech video. I'm here today with Girish Mathrubootham. He is the CEO and founder of Freshworks. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Now, can we please just start with you telling us a little bit about your background and what was the idea, what sparked the idea to create Freshworks and bring it to market?
Yeah, so we started Freshworks as Freshdesk in 2010. So the idea to create Freshdesk came from a personal life experience. So it was the year 2009 when I was working in Austin, Texas, and I was moving back from the US to Chennai, India, and I was shipping my stuff back home. And 2.5 months later, when my stuff arrived, my 40-inch Samsung LCD TV was broken. So, and I had actually purchased insurance, so I thought it should be a fairly straightforward thing to call the company and get my money back. But long story short, 5.5 months had passed, multiple phone calls, emails to their contact center, and the company simply wouldn't tell me which insurance company underwrote the insurance. Now, at that point, after 5.5 months, I simply didn't care about the money anymore. I wanted revenge. So early 2010, I actually shared my entire story online in a forum called R2I Club Forum, which is a Return to India forum. That was the place where I got the reference for the shipping company. So I actually posted my story along with the pictures of my broken TV. The community started engaging. The next day, the president of the company came and apologized, and the next day, money was in my bank.
Wow.
Now, the backstory is before Freshdesk, I had created 4 customer support help desks, so I knew the space. And as somebody who knows the concept of a multi-channel customer support, what I witnessed in my personal life was, for the first time, a paradigm shift in the balance of power. So a customer could actually take on a brand, a bigger company, and actually force the company to do what's the right thing for the customer. Now, when I looked around, all the other help desks were actually still focusing on the traditional channels of support like phone and email. And so that's when I got the idea to build a fresh help desk. And that's why we called it Freshdesk, to not only take care of customer inquiries from phone, chat, or email, but also social channels like online, Twitter or Facebook.
And I mean, of course, that's always the best way when you've had a personal experience and you really want to solve this problem. So for those inspired by your success, what were some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome in transforming from a startup into a global tech success story?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in fact, I would say, for the most part, we have been fortunate in terms of being able to hire the right kind of talent, build products, scale our revenues, get funding at the right times. So I think our biggest challenge, which I'm sure many fast-growing startups are going through, was how do you preserve the culture of the startup? The first team that you hire, like when you go from say 20 employees to 200 employees to 1,000 employees, like how do you make sure that the communication systems don't break down when you're hiring so many people from so many different companies? How do you bring everybody aligned to the Freshworks way of working? So I think scaling the culture and actually watching the company as a living organism change its behavior with more people joining. So that was the biggest challenge, but I'm very happy that we identified it early on and actually made the right changes.
And any other quick tips for those in startup land hoping to scale like you?
So my belief fundamentally is you can only build a successful company on the foundation of happy customers, and I'm also a product guy, so my tip would always be build awesome product and make sure customers are delighted.
And obviously Freshworks has its own Freshworks help desk, and you have to make sure that's number one too.
As a customer support company, we want to make sure we are the gold standard in that.
Absolutely. So look, we're here today at the inaugural Freshworks Refresh CX conference, which I've recorded in full and will be alongside the videos in this article. But can you please give us in brief the most important messages from today's conference that you'd like people watching this to walk away with?
So at this conference specifically, we spoke about the future of AI and ML in the context of CX and customer support. So we walked through the evolution of how AI started with toying around with simple baby steps like intent detection or sentiment analysis and so on, but went all the way through the 7 steps of AI evolution to complete workflow automation or process automation. So the key predictions that we made in today's conference were based on what we are seeing with our customers, like more and more companies around the world are really looking to automate their tier 1 support. So that was the first prediction, and the business driver for that being cost saving and a faster support experience to the customer. The second prediction was building off the first one, where most companies were not ready to fully turn on their support to automation. They always wanted to really have a fallback because they don't want cost savings or automation at the expense of customer experience. So they want to deploy a confident chatbot or an automation which knows what problems they can resolve very well. But if the bots know that they cannot resolve, how can they connect to a live person or a live transfer with context to a live agent? And the third prediction we made, again based on our what we are seeing with customers, is how agent assist bots will actually make a real business impact in terms of on-the-job training for agents and quickly bringing up agents up to speed. So that is something which we think will soon become the norm.
And you also put out a report today that talks about all of that, and I'll have the PDF to that report available.
So the report was based on a survey that we did of 500 Australian businesses and their approach to AI and what they were thinking. So basically it's a nice summary of findings on what Australian businesses, where they are in terms of their AI/ML thinking, which areas of industry or which departments inside the company are AI is sneaking its way into. So I think that those are all covered in that.
And you were briefly mentioning earlier today one of your first customers was an Australian in Perth.
Yeah, it was Atwell College in first customer when we were in Chennai, and we didn't talk to the customer. Like, he just came on board and brought it to this credit card, and still a customer.
And now, of course, you've got customers globally.
Yeah, we have more than 150,000 businesses using our software in 126 countries.
Wow, very impressive. So where do you see Freshworks and AI evolving in the future, or maybe over the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, so our focus has always been in customer engagement. So we see Freshworks as a leader in the customer engagement space. And when I say customer engagement, I'm talking about engagement across marketing, sales, support, and retaining customers, making them successful. So across the full spectrum of the customer life cycle. And AI/ML is one of the technology areas which today is becoming very strategic across customer engagement.
So as we get towards the end of the interview, I always like to ask the people that I'm interviewing if you could please share some of the best advice you've received to help you get where you are today.
Oh, in my life, I think that the best advice that I've got is about the value of relationships. So my previous boss taught me that, and so that has really helped me in terms of really looking at building genuine relationships with people, with vendors, with customers. At the end of the day, we are an employee first, customer second company. I value the relationships that we have with my employees. I just think work is second, relationships are first.
Well, you've turned relationships into a globally successful business. So it's great. So what's your final message to IT Wire viewers and readers, and to your current and future customers and partners?
So I think I would just say, like, we are going through a very, very healthy phase of growth. We're excited about how a small company from Chennai has transformed in 7.5 years to a $1.5 billion company now. So we just recently announced that new round of funding. So we are excited about our product vision and products that are bringing to the market. So my message to all the future customers would be, like, don't make a decision till you try out Freshworks products.
Well, Girish, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.